Good evening, everyone. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I was, my computer I had to do some little maintenance on my camera, but appreciate you guys waiting. Welcome, everyone. Hope you guys are having a good day. We are 4 days away from the holiday if you are celebrating Christmas. And today is winter solstice. So happy Merry Solstice and happy Yule. All right. So I hope you guys are having a good night. And we are going to, let me double check to make sure my microphone is on the right one. Is this right? Does that sound better? All right. So, I don't know. My volume sounds different on this. The echo on this one sounds different than on the other ones. But welcome, everyone. Hope you guys are having a great day. All right, so let's talk about, and I think I'm a little bit blurry. I'm sorry about that. StreamYard's being kind of weird lately, but it's 4 days from the holiday. It's winter solstice, and it's still not snowing here in Minnesota. I was actually preparing to do this video like all day, and I got completely distracted. Well, not distracted. I did a video about Scientology, which took me a little bit longer than normal. I had a lot of stuff that I had to work through, and I had a bunch of different sources that I was getting information from. So it took me a little bit longer to put that one together, but it was really it was enjoyable for me to cover something a little bit different. I love Leah Remini. So anytime I talk about her, it's great. And she was kind of dragging Tom Cruise. So anytime we can sort of talk about the destructiveness of Scientology, along with bringing awareness to the fact that Tom Cruise is getting a lot of attention right now for sort of cursing out his crew. But in reality, he does not believe in this whole pandemic, and he is above it and doesn't believe in illness. So the irony and the hypocrisy is very thick with that one. But let's talk about the Duggars. So we have actually 3 different topics for today. We're going to talk about Jill Duggar, or Jill Dillard, not being invited to the holiday parties. Joy Anna's husband's fraud case has an update, and Danielle Busby from Out Doddard, I'm convinced, just does not care. And we'll talk about why. So before we get into all of that, let me tell you a little bit of funness in all of this, is that Derek Dillard's mom follows me. Yeah, she totally follows me on Twitter. And she actually sent me a tweet. I was having kind of a day last week where I was feeling a little bit down, and she sent me a tweet saying that she was going to pray for me. Obviously, I am not a believer, but I'm also the kind of person that does believe in the power of good thoughts and prayers. And so if someone wants to pray for me, of course, I will tell them. I will accept those prayers. And I sent her a message and just said, thank you so much for your thoughts. And we started chatting in DMs. And Kathy is a really nice person. I was super, super, super surprised that she follows me, and more surprised that she kind of like sent me that tweet, maybe, or sort of as like this, like, I see you. She's a really nice woman. So definitely interested to hear more from her. And we were talking about just like funny stories about tabloid stories. So I'm always interested in who actually follows me, but Kathy Dillard is one of my followers these days. So hello, Kathy. Thank you for following. Okay. So Joy Anna, so a couple weeks ago, or November, there was this big event at the Duggars. They had the Fall Family Festival, right? They had this they had painting pumpkins, and they had like a slingshot, and they did rides around, hay rides, and there was a pie eating contest, and there was so much that was going on, and there was a lot of questions about, one, do they just like literally not care that there's a global pandemic going on and they don't care about social distancing? 2, why is it that Derek must have told her about me? I'm guessing. Yeah, because I've talked to Derek before and briefly to Jill, nothing serious, but so it got some people thinking, like, are they just purposely leaving out Jill and Derek? Are they just not inviting Jill and Derek? Like, what's going on with this Jill and Derek thing? Like, is there a question about, are they just not being invited? Are they just deciding not to go? Because that's always been kind of the question, is like, well, maybe they're not going. Like, literally, maybe they're just deciding not to go, right? Well, somebody actually asked on Twitter, and I'll show you. Derek is actually pretty good about responding. Sometimes he responds to tweets that are like really older, a little bit older, but this one he actually responded to within a couple days. And he said, happy Thanksgiving. Just wondering where you were, if you were invited to the fall festival at the Duggar House. It's so strange to not see you in all the pics and videos. And he said, thank you. Happy belated Thanksgiving to you too. No, we were not invited or told about it. And she said, I'm so sorry to hear that. Your family deserves better than that. So imagine you're like just bebopping away through the day, and then your sister Jessa uploads a video and it's like, surprise, the entire family is over at mom and dad's house. Everyone is playing, everyone's having a blast, but you're not invited, Jill. Now, I know that there's a rift between Jill and the Duggars, but I find this interesting because the Duggars were like so quick to come out to People magazine and be like, we are so eager to come to reunification, and we hope that we can restore full healing in our relationship with Jill. We pray for reconciliation. So one would think that if you're praying for reconciliation, you would extend an olive branch and be like, hey, Jill, we're going to have this big event over at our house and we'd love you to come. But Jill didn't even get an invite. So this rift obviously is deeper than the Duggars would want you to believe. Obviously, they're not on good terms. There was also a wreath making event, which also she was not invited to. Now, in fairness, they could have been filming, and she didn't just maybe they didn't invite her because she wouldn't have been filming. But that doesn't even make sense because Josh and Anna were there, and Josh can't be on camera. So even if they were filming, Josh was there. So that doesn't hold weight, right? If Josh is there, then theoretically Jill could be there. They would just not film her. But instead, Derek says, nope, we just were not invited. And, maybe she doesn't even care. Maybe it doesn't bother her, whatever. I don't know. I know that Derek during the season did make a mention that they had this whole family event. And they hold that whole family Zoom call for Counting On. And Derek made a comment during Counting On when that episode came up. It's like, how do you have a family Zoom call and you don't include one of your daughters? Like, the hypocrisy. So you mean the family that's on TV, not the family that you actually have. So it sounds like not only are they just like not inviting Jill to things, they're just not even interested, maybe. I mean, and then here's the hard part that I would feel like I would have trouble with if I were Jill. Now, Jill she spends a lot of time with Kathy Dillard and Derek's stepfather, because if you don't know this, Derek's dad did pass away. Actually, Kathy actually told me this today. She was 50 when he passed away. So I'm not sure when that was. I know that Derek had already graduated high school, I believe, when his dad passed, I believe. So, but yeah, he passed away when he was relatively young. She's remarried now, and they spend a lot of time with Kathy and stepdad. And the interesting thing too is that they practice social distancing. Jill and Derek are literally the only ones in the Duggar family that actually are taking this pandemic seriously. They are constantly wearing masks. They don't go to events that have more than 10 people. They are literally like abiding by the rules. And the rest of the Duggars are just like over there like IDGAF. So he's not on TV, but he is a boy, so there's no rules. This is true. Jessa was promoting HelloFresh today. I was shocked. Good for her. We love HelloFresh. Okay. And I don't have a sponsorship, so don't worry about it. But so yeah, they had their ugly sweater party, which again, I did a video about today. I mean, like, who needs a pandemic, right? Nobody's actually cares when you're the Duggars. Like, why would they care? And they did an ugly sweater party, and then this is a sweater vest, and John won. Like, that's not even a Christmas sweater. Like, he just bought an ugly sweater and wore it. Does someone want to tell the Duggars that it's actually ugly Christmas sweater and not just ugly sweater? Okay. Let me see. So there was that. Now on to the next phase of this story. So remember about, I don't even know, a year ago, not even a year ago. I can't even remember. It was not that long ago that there was a lawsuit that happened with Joy Anna's husband, Austin Forsythe. So Austin had apparently bought this house and flipped it. And when he flipped it, there was something to do with a poor sewer. So basically what happened is the owner of the so Austin sells the property. He sells it as is. He says that he hasn't done any specific work to that, didn't need a permit for it, something like that. And the new owner says that when they moved into the property, they noticed that the sewer had been placed in a not correct, or the sump pump or septic system, the septic system had been placed incorrectly, and their yard smelled like turds, basically. Stinky water in the yard. And they said it was very unpleasant. They found out later that they had placed the wrong kind of system in the ground, and they would have to get a different system because of the kind of soil that they had. And it was going to cost like tens of thousands of dollars for this repair. And they sued Austin, basically saying that Austin did not disclose to them that they did this work, or he did not take out a permit, something to do with that. And they were wanting fraud. They wanted the house. They wanted like basically Austin to take the house back or have him pay for the sewer. And Austin obviously denied everything. He had all of the documents, which he said were sold as is. And he also said that, so the argument from the buyer was that they did not take out the proper permits, to which Austin said, I did not need permits for this specific job. It was not required. And so the owners in this case that purchased from Austin had requested a summary judgment, which basically is a request to the court that says, based on everything that we've told you, based on everything that you know, because this owner did not do their due diligence, we would request that you just order in our favor. And they basically said, no dice. So Austin actually got a partial win in court. This actually happened a couple of days ago. And it says the court, having considered the pleadings, motions, responses, replies brought about by the plaintiff's motion for partial summary judgment, and upon agreement of the counsel and for good cause shown, said motion should be denied. It is hereby ordered, adjudged, and decreed. So the judge denied the summary motion, meaning that that he still wants to, that Austin's still not out of the woods. Like, it's just that they're going to go to trial. So he's like, we're not going to give you the money yet. We really need to prove this before we actually give money to you. Now, their specific thing was like, well, he didn't get the proper permits. He was required to it. So therefore, we don't even have to sue him. You should just order that he pays us. And the judge said no. So he's like won a small victory, but he still has to go to trial, and that's scheduled for later in 2021. Now, I'm still unclear about the whole issue with the house. I don't know. It was really unclear as to whether or not Austin even was the person that placed that septic system, or if it was placed after the fact. And if the argument was that Austin saying, I didn't need a permit because I didn't do the work. And he said he fixed some lines, but I don't know that he actually put in a brand new septic system. So there's that. It'll be a mess for sure. Austin does do home flipping and construction for his businesses, but he is also not a licensed contractor. His father has a licensed contracting company, but Austin does not. So, and if you remember, Austin and Joy recently got a home from the Duggars, which they got for like $10, and they completely rehabbed and remodeled, and they've turned it into actually a beautiful home. So that is what is going on with Joy and Austin. I can't say that I'm really surprised, unless there's like a super compelling case. I would say most judges would prefer that you actually like not do a summary judgment, and they have to, you know, prove their case before they actually award someone. And so I'm guessing that the judge wants to see more evidence of all of this going on. So I'm wondering, what is that? It says it's rarely a nice, it is a really nice home. They've done really good work into that home. You know, Austin and Joy, if nothing, are extremely, Austin's really talented, if nothing else. He does a really good job with construction. And Joy, she works with Austin, which is kind of cool. Like, she likes to work and she likes to be hands-on with him. Some people are critics and they just say that, you know, Austin works Joy too hard, to which I'm like, I don't know, if Joy likes to work and wants to work and that's what she likes to do and they like to be together, who cares? I think they both enjoy work, and I think they both will have a successful life off of Counting On. They have their own YouTube channel. Joy does her own promotions on her Instagram accounts. I think that Joy long-term has the opportunity and the ability to do good things. I love Joy and Austin together. I do too. I actually think, you know, there was a lot of questions in the very beginning of their relationship on whether or not Joy and Austin had a relationship in which people were like, oh, Austin scares me. But I don't know, watching the birth special and seeing how tender and like how loving he was, and just how like he was there for her, and very like, he was like a really good partner and a really good spouse, like the kind of guy that you would want to have at your birth. So seeing that side of him, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I see the criticism that people say about him. People are always like, I think he's scary. I just think he's I think he's probably one of those more quiet guys. And I also think that he probably is of the group that maybe doesn't want to be as involved with the Duggar clan. So who knows? Now, as we move on to the next topic, this isn't going to be a super long live stream because, you know, okay. So I was looking at the Busbys, and we were talking about this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Now, the Busbys are in Texas, and if you pay attention at all to what's going on in the world, you know that it's like a massive hotspot, especially like down in Houston where they're located. There has been tons of stories about, you know, the family or the hospitals being at capacity, and there being so much, you know, problems with, you know, like restrictions, making sure that people are, you know, staying home. And the Busbys are just like, they don't care. They're not abiding by anything. They're out. They're not wearing masks. And it's not going unnoticed at all by their fans, mostly because people feel like they are being irresponsible, and that they are like, come on, like, why are you doing this? Why are you out? Why are you like acting like this is no big deal? When the truth of the matter is, you are like partying at a rock concert and you're out with your friends and you're not wearing a mask. So people were just like, I just don't understand. And some of you obviously don't care about others' safety. And they said, quit thinking it's the government. Good grief. You've learned nothing in the last not many months. So people like fight, and obviously like people are dying and sick. You're all about going to bars and partying. Read the room, country. You're part of the problem, not the solution, sadly. And this is why the USA has thousands of dying every single day. I wish I could go out with my friends here in PA. Seems like a whole different world there. Do you even think before you do these social things, let alone post them? And she posts these kinds of things all the time. Here in Belgium, we're in lockdown. What happened to social distancing? Could never hang like that where I live. I'm confused. Why are you posting so many outings with your family and friends unmasked? And so there wasn't just that one. There was also another one of them. Oh, did I not grab it? They were at they also went and did they went to a craft place with the girls, and none of them, they were like doing presents or doing something like where they were like at one of those places where you like sit at a table and you are making crafts together, and all of the girls were with them. It was Adam and her, and none of them were wearing masks. And it was like people were just leaving comment after comment after comment, and they don't respond really at all when they get these kinds of comments from fans. So I don't really think that I don't know if they just don't care, but it is interesting how, there are some people that seemingly just do not care, are not bothered, and are unaware, or even it doesn't seem to matter to them that they have this huge platform and they are basically going out in life like there's no issues. It's kind of like the Duggars. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised with the Busbys, but I guess I would have thought a little bit more of the Busbys, because even though they are still like in that sort of evangelical world, I thought they would have taken this a little bit more seriously, especially because the girls were all preemies. But I don't know. I don't understand when people are doing this kind of stuff, especially that Texas is a red zone right now. So it's, that's just me. But this is the overall, the fans just leaving so many comments. It's his fun activity today over at the Board Brush League City. We made ornaments. Okay, so they were in an ornament place making ornaments with the girls, and literally like none of the girls were wearing masks. Obviously, you can see the very first comment there was a mask. That's for Moriah. Okay, so my question here is that if you had this kind of platform, do you think there's a level of responsibility for people that have these kinds of platforms to make sure that what they're saying, what they're doing, and what they're posting is in a way like, I don't know, not so like thumbing their nose at what's going on? There's, on the one breath, it's like I'm starting to just be like, I don't know if I even I'm surprised anymore, because every time I go onto Danielle or Adam's page, they're constantly out doing things. Debbie says, this is sick. In my opinion, as influencers, they should not do these things. This is my thing, is that when you have a platform that has X amount of millions of people that are following you, I feel as though there is a responsibility to set the right example, which they have a lot of younger fans because of the fact that they have their young daughters on the show, and a lot of young fans looking at them and being like, oh, well, if they don't take it seriously, I don't have to take it seriously. I know people don't sign on for these shows to be role models, but at the end of the day, they do become role models. And the fact that they're using their platforms to, sell things, like Danielle is constantly using her platform for her different MLM products or whatever it is, her swipe ups. So you start to wonder, is it just, I don't care, or I don't believe it, or I don't know. Do you think they think they are TV stars, so they don't care? I really don't know about that, Maria. That's a good question. I'm of the belief that they are more of the sect of the population that truly believes that we just need to get back to work. We need to get out there, and it's not that big of a deal, and that's unfortunate, because it is a big deal. And unfortunately, it is still completely out of control. And a lot of us this year are not going to be able to spend time with our friends, family, or anything. And so I think there's this extra layer of salt to the wound, especially for people who feel like they are following the rules, is they're like, well, why? I followed the rules. Why don't you? Right? So next is, and finally, and this was not in the title, but I had a little addition here, is that Moriah and her boyfriend Max are actually together. So remember how we said that they split up on one of the last episodes of the Welcome to Plathville? Well, on last week's episode, they actually got back together. So they made the decision to get back together. Max went over to the Plaths and met them and was like toe to toe with Kim Plath. And they had their first kiss and apparently are still kissing to this day. It was funny because there was a cute little video that was shared on her Instagram stories that was said like, oh, since their first kiss, they haven't stopped kissing. And then it panned to the two of them sort of kissing on a couch. And then on this, it just says, you're the only hand in my back pocket. If you ever left, I'd be psychotic. Maroon 5. Maybe some of y'all saw it coming. Maybe you're shocked. Maybe it shocked you like it did me, but I can now properly introduce you to my boyfriend, best friend. Yes, he can be both of those at the same time, and my partner in crime, Max. And then he just said, what a shock, kidding, I love you. And then they had their photo there too. So they're young. I think he's like 3 years older. I think she's 18 and he might be 21, but that's not like massive. That's like not a massively huge age difference. Some people were like shocked that he was 20 and she was 17 and they were dating, but I don't know. That didn't seem like I think when they met, she was almost 18. So I don't know. Is he tall? I don't know. I can't tell if he's tall or if she's short, or I don't really know, but they seem happy and that's the good thing. And Moriah has a boyfriend. So yay. I'm still catching up on last week's episode still with Welcome to Plathville. And I haven't been doing a ton of the replays just because, I don't know, the season has been kind of all over the place and I haven't really been like totally loving it. I'm just like, I don't know. The whole recaps can be hit or miss, but Moriah is with Max and she and Max are kissing and cute. So that's what we have for tonight. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Now, if you have not yet checked out my other video, I did a video about Scientology earlier today, and that was on Tom Cruise and his sort of rant about protocols with his movie, and Leah Remini kind of calling him out and being like, he is such an utter hypocrite. This is ridiculously stupid. And he's full of crap, which I'm always like good for a Leah drag. And some of you had been asking for some more Scientology content. So I'll be weaving that in more frequently just because I really like Leah and I really like Mike. And I feel like there's a lot to talk about. And I feel like Leah does so much talking that there's always something to talk about with it. So that's what we have for now. It is happy winter solstice. If you guys have comments, questions, or concerns, make sure you leave those below. And I will be back later with more. Thanks, guys.